All right, off we
Jamie,
go. Hello,
Jamie,
Jordan.
Shannon, hello.
Hello.
I don't know you personally, but I've done a bit of a deep dive, and I just want to say I love you.
Hey, thanks.
You just seem like such a great person and human and bring joy. Like, how do puppets not bring joy?
They are high in the joy factor. It's true. Yeah.
Even the dark ones, like on your website at puppetisland.ca, because that's Canadian, right?
Yep.
At, at, at puppetisland.ca, and you click on puppets, there's dark stuff, there's adult content, there's your long running kids series, and work with the brands that have the upbeat, happy, innocent,
Yeah.
wholesome charm to them. So I just love it. Thanks for being here.
Hey, no props. Yeah, I do horror and cute stuff. Preschool and horror are funny enough my genres. It's like
Well,
I was thinking like how comedians are now becoming such good horror movie people. I've been thinking about it a lot lately because of that.
comedians are horror people.
Yeah, like the guy who just did that Obsession. He was a
Oh
YouTube
yeah,
comedian, and Peel,
yeah.
Peel
Oh, of
of
course.
he's a comedian horror movie guy, and I even think the guy who did the Backrooms was a bit of a horror guy or comedy guy before he made that horror.
Ask me the common denominator between comedy and horror. Ask me.
Oh, what's the common denominator between comedy
Timing.
and horror? Yes,
But
I guess
I
so.
had I had seen I don't know the name. Pardon me, I don't know the name of the characters. There's so many, but Bait and Switch. It's a catfish
Catfish.
puppet on a date, and the woman is complaining. It's like a minute or less short film.
Yeah, it's a yeah very short film that I actually you might have seen that because I put it all online and it did
I
quite
did.
well.
It.
Yeah,
I did see it online, and it's interesting because I notice a DNA in a lot of those in a lot of the characters. Your DNA in the characters.
yeah, yeah,
Not so much like from Fuzzy Sheep in the that vein, family vein, but those all have the same ilk, and then the more adult puppets seem to have a similar thread, which I think is great. Like any
yeah,
artist wants to have their work recognized.
yeah. I don't know how that happens. Some people have even more defined style, but I definitely have never like whenever I'm hired for commercial jobs, I make it too much my own. So I've never been like I'm not very good to be hired for Henson sometimes or Disney because I'm not very good at honing their styles because it always looks like something I did.
Gotcha, and which is good, but could box you out of certain.
Yeah, certain.
Uh,
Yeah, I'm just not a Henson puppeteer as other. I've worked with them though. I love
of
working with them.
course, of course. What is your of all of these on Puppet Island? What is your do you have a favorite? Or are they all like children? Because and the good food raccoon is he's he's decidedly cute, full of personality, yet crude.
Yeah, kind of scruffy, crude puppet.
Yeah, tell me about that one. Or,
I
or
know
is
it's
he
pretty
your favorite?
interesting. They came at me a lot of times with advertising. It seems like it's a lot of people's ideas. So it's like they wanted something scruffy but cute, but fluffy, but kind of like more adult, and I just kind of like averaged it out, and that's what it ended up. And I even have criticisms of it, but the people loved it. Like that raccoon was huge. I've never gotten so many emails from random fans looking for the raccoon, and I just say, well, that's with good food now. But they made a toy out of it. They made it a part of their label. Like it became a big thing.
That's hilarious. And yeah, because I'm sure it's like, how does it work in commercials? The puppet is work for hire, or can you lease a puppet to them?
Yeah, they can sometimes they do a buyout, sometimes they just get it made for just the commercial, or if they want to keep on using it, there's a buyout for kind of if they're going to put it on advertising or put it in multiple commercials, then there's a sort of buyout for the design of the character.
So some puppet characters are your IP,
Yes,
and others you make from scratch for the client.
exactly. Exactly. Yep.
You and I are the same in that way. Well, I mean, I don't have a lot of IP that I license out. I do have content for my film school, and I will license it to other places, and then I mostly work for hire as a commercial director.
Yeah,
But you,
terrific.
you and I are like dressmakers.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah,
you can
exactly.
go
You make
ready
it
to
for
wear.
Yeah, you make it exactly to the measurement of what that thing is. And I would say that's my greatest skill. If somebody comes and they're looking for something, warm or scary or hilarious, and you pick the materials and you pick the voice and you kind of fit the perfect, square block into the square hole of that commercial.
When you say pick the voice, do you mean literally you're involved with the actor, or you'll do a temp voice? Maybe you do voices
I
for.
quite often do the voice. I've done so many different voices. So, what often they think is they think I'm just a puppet maker, and then I do the voice on set, and then they use that recording. I find that's what ends up happening.
Oh, that's fun.
There's an authenticity when you are the one working the puppet, and you're the one that also voices it. You can kind of get better timing, and there's it's like dubbing a human. You can always kind of tell a little bit.
Yeah, I've worked with a few puppets and puppeteers in my day, from marionettes, hand puppets, and even like a toothbrush, which was
Oh yeah,
fun to emote because it had no. It was just the subtlety. The one of the most fun I had jobs I had where I was like, now that's a puppeteer, and the agency was like, well, can't we do it? Can't a PA do it? It was a plastic Burger King hand puppet, almost like a plastic mitten of a Burger King for a kid's meal. And I said, no, that's the whole star of this campaign. We're doing 8 spots. And the young woman, it's been years, right? But Jamie, the subtleties in her hand and the fingers, and just it emoted.
yeah.
It was a
It's quite
silence.
unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's great. It's amazing what brings a puppet alive. It's a mistake that people make all the time. They think anybody can do it because but it's not the object. It's the intention that the puppeteer puts inside it, and it doesn't even need to be moving. If the puppeteer is doing that mental work of projecting themselves into it, it has infinitely more life than people are just kind of waving their hand around or making it move. And yeah, like I teach a course, and the whole course is not about technique. It's about how to get the spark, like how to get the life into the puppet.
Well, in the and I'll post Bait and Switch, the catfish
Yeah,
love story. When the so it's for the listener. Literally, I think it's 45 seconds, but I'll put a link at jordanbrady.com with the blog here. But what I noticed was the human female, when the catfish says, hey, do you want to get another round? And she's falling for him. They're a little tipsy. She goes, or we could go back to my place, something like that. And then the catfish stares at her, and there's a subtle, I don't know if it's a curl of the lip or
yeah,
the raise of
yeah,
an eyebrow. And now that I'm thinking back, it's kind of the Mandela effect or theater of the mind. I probably saw more emotion and describing things now that may not have really happened, but that's my takeaway.
yeah,
That he
yeah.
he was very seductive.
So much is projected. It's kind of fascinating. It's the same reason we all look at a happy face and think it's us. Like we all can relate to a happy face. It's because it's got so much space for us to project upon. And I think if you make a good puppet, it's got a really broad, it receives everybody's projection easily. And it's quite often doing less or starting with stillness or the most subtle little look or breath. Yeah.
You mentioned that you consult and you also do speaking engagements, and I'm sure any any school or summer camp or I would maybe corporations would want you to come and just liven everything up and show pull the curtain back on the magic.
Yeah.
But on your website, you say how characters become real. What makes audiences care about fictional characters, mascots, brands, and stories? That goes beyond puppets.
Yeah.
But puppets are probably one of the harder, or am I wrong? Maybe they're easy because they're so inviting.
I think it's the same as developing a character for anything. Like if there's bad animated things out there that people find, they just can't seem to get their find a way in. It's if you hone something and it's a complete picture. It's just that voice goes with how it feels about itself and how yeah, it's like acting. It's like a good actor. Some people just really embody everything with it and you just can jump in. You know, I think some actors even have a quality of they're sort of a blank slate themselves. And they're really good for just watching. You just think they're so funny because you just imagine what they're thinking.
Well, interestingly enough, I probably talked about this a lot, and I tell actors all the time to do the eye acting. Just act with your eyes. Just think about it. And I'm talking about a soap commercial or something, right? It's nothing. It's not My Left Foot or you know Phantom Thread. It's somebody pitching a product. But if the actor just stares and their eyes light up and maybe just look one side or the other, to me it says so much about what they're thinking, and that comes through the viewer more
It does, yeah. It's far more entertaining to.
than a
Oh, I know what
crazy.
they're thinking. Yeah, than them showing everything. You know.
Well, Jamie, I'm looking at the website at puppetisland.ca. You help with professional advice for building a puppet. That makes sense. And then you say refining your voice, uncovering the core identity behind your work.
Yeah.
That sounds like therapy.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I love the psychology of everything, but I do think people have natural, like, if you want to do a really good job of hiring your actor or your puppeteer, you
Yeah.
find someone who has that expression in themselves quite naturally. Like, some people can really make it up, but I find the best characters I can play as puppets are ones that are parts of myself, and even better if they're ill expressed. If you're always too nice, but you have a mean puppet, that mean puppet's probably way funnier. Or if you're really mean and you play a really sweet puppet, it's probably even sweeter because it's the unexpressed part of your id.
You're revealing what's behind the mask.
Yes, exactly.
Oh,
And I'm
that's
actually going to, yeah, I decided to start doing because these consulting things usually sort of turn into that. I kind of find out and people kind of have there's almost like a thing that might have been around since you were a kid that you just kind of always have the other idea, or you're very helpful, or you always are able to make things lighter, and those elements, that kind of like energetic elements of yourself, that's really, if I mean, if you're trying to create, what I help people do is create their social media
oh yeah.
character. That's the one that'll continue to be like, you're probably someone who's curious, or you're great at bringing out guests interests and that kind of thing, so
Wait,
that's how you found your way.
just so I'm clear, you help people with their social media persona, meaning, I was a housewife, my kids are in college, and I worked before I had kids, and now I want to be an influencer.
Yeah,
And I
mine's mostly puppets though. Puppet makers, puppet people,
oh,
which
puppet
there's
people,
quite a few out there.
but is okay, so the housewife wants to have a puppet. You help her. Are you saying social media through the puppet, or the puppeteer herself, himself, their self is on social media?
I'm saying through the puppet, but I lead it back to the human underneath, so that that person, whether they have really funny one-liners about nobody doing the dishes, or they're a great cook, or whatever it is that you can kind of find their nature that they'll be able to best express on social media.
How do you do that? What do you start with? Do you have certain questions? Do you...
Yeah, I think just finding out what people I find out what they were like when they were a kid. Look at what they've done already. I kind of like try to imagine how to improve their idea because I can usually see a kernel of what they want to do and they might not know, and you just kind of like, oh, I think you probably just want to criticize people and you should just go for it or whatever it is, you know.
Yeah.
The people's nature kind of sneaks out in little bits, so it's kind of just recognizing what is people's inclination,
So
most entertaining inclination.
you're a bit intuitive.
I'm intuitive, yeah, I guess so, yeah. Yeah, I love psychology, and that one of the things I'm going to start doing is calling my puppet psychology because I do find it so fascinating. Just
What if you had a puppet that was like the quintessential therapist
it's not a bad idea
on a
actually.
couch, and then you talk to? I mean, you could pitch this as a
Now
show.
you're helping me
Love
do what I do.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah, well, you
very
know.
good. You should start a consultancy.
Well,
Uh,
if you go to jordanbrady.com or commercialdirectingfilmschool.com, you will see links to such. This is about you,
perfect.
Jamie. Yeah.
Oh, perfect. That's a very good idea. I'm sort of repairing this Pinocchio puppet that I was thinking of doing some funny therapy things with, and
That
that's
would
a pretty
work.
funny idea too.
But the therapist, and it could be, I think of sort of the middle aged woman with her glasses and her hair up. And then I think of the old professorial sort of guy.
Yeah, with a
But, but
with a Freud little
yes,
goatee.
little glasses, notebook and pencil.
Yeah, it's I mean Carl Jung, that's who I think of often, his sort of like your dark side and your hidden side and your
Sure, the masks and
unconscious
everything.
and your masks. Yeah, it's all kind of it is kind of psychology, and I think that's what puppets kind of are. They allow us to kind of see ourselves outside of ourselves, and they're kind of simplified versions of ourselves.
And we, the audience, it never fails. Like, if you ever see a behind the scenes of Sesame Street or I mean, even just clips, the adults, I saw a puppet on the Today Show or something like that. No one looks at the puppeteer, even if you're sitting there in plain sight. In
Yeah.
Los Angeles, for decades, it was Bob Barker's Marionette
Oh, I know it.
Theater,
Yeah.
right, where the puppeteers are wearing black, and they're mostly rod puppets that are out in front of the people,
Yeah, marionettes.
but some of them big,
Yeah.
and you, as an audience member, I would say 2.4 seconds as an adult before you suspend your disbelief and you totally ignore the puppeteer.
I know. It's
They
kind of
become one.
fascinating.
You don't look up, you don't watch, even if they're talking. And now I haven't seen Avenue Q or some of the, but Lion King I saw on Broadway years ago when it first came out. And they're clearly people in suits,
Yeah,
which you
that
would
one's
think
very obvious.
you would think the craft was so fascinating with that show that people would go, "Oh, look how the giraffe is one guy on these stilts and long extended arms." But you don't. I mean, I
Yeah.
didn't. I was like, "Oh,
No,
that's the giraffe."
there's a neat paradox with that actually. Exactly what you're talking about. You know, do you remember War Horse?
Of
The
course.
Yeah, War Horse, amazing. And that horse, it was just made of like tubes and straps and because it was made of completely abstract objects, you weren't looking for realism. You were finding the life and the movement they did. And it's such that if they did cover it with fur and give it eyes and make it look like a horse, it wouldn't look real anymore because it would be going through a different sense of our judgment. We would be like, is that real or is that a puppet? I know that's a
Right.
puppet. But when you just say obviously it's a puppet, so
You let go.
you don't even have to guess. It's a puppet. And then you're just taken away by the fantasy of the movement that kind of sparks out of inside of it.
Sort of like robots have that. I think I'm saying it wrong. The Turing test,
Yeah,
where
is that the uncanny valley?
yeah,
No. Yeah.
So for puppets, it's a similar thing. Like,
Similar thing. The closer they get to real, the creepier they are.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny because Hall of Presidents or whatever the like wax museums never work for me. They're
Yeah, they
trying
are
too hard.
weird.
Odd.
Yeah. It's a yeah, we're kind of in I mean, we're uncanny valley. It's that word's coming up a lot right now just because AI and fake
Yeah.
humans that way and and all the robots that are coming out too. And truly you're better off making it with two dot eyes and a cute little smile so that you're like Hello Kitty. Hello Kitty, the most simplified thing, so well loved because it's got nothing realistic about it. Just two little X eyes, two little dots in a mouth.
I saw a YouTube short that you posted how to make a potato puppet
Oh
that
yeah.
was about as simple as could be, but by golly, it comes to life.
Yeah, that's a great workshop. I've done that so many times. It's really I made it up. We have this potato province, Prince Edward Island, where we grow all our
Oh,
potatoes in Canada.
just for
So I
puppets.
just for puppets. If you ever are not getting your French fries, you know why. The puppets are
Sure,
high.
some sort
The
of
need for puppets is high.
World Cup potato stadium filled with puppet potatoes.
Yes,
No
exactly.
chips, no poutine. You do have a YouTube clip that I saw it this morning where you said I'm on if you would be willing to be recorded and be on your podcast or your social medias, you would give
Yes.
a free consultation.
Yep.
So let me put you on the spot, Jamie. I have an idea for a puppet.
All right.
Could you do a mock or not even a
Sure.
real
Let's do it. Yeah.
consultation
Let's
with
talk
me?
about.
And
Yeah.
you
Let's
can
talk
use
about.
this recording for your stuff or have me on if it's interesting to you. But I have an idea for a puppet that I would use in promotions, and maybe you can play the puppet therapist and do what you do on these consultings.
Sure.
And any brand listening, a brand manager who's like, I told you, I pitch puppets, by the way, almost on every job.
You do. All
I
right. They
just because it'd be
they
funnier.
work.
Because it'd be
They
funnier.
work. Yeah. I know puppets are truly funny and body costumes and creatures and stuff. So tell me about what do you know about your puppet?
So I run commercial directing film school
Yep.
where I teach directors and any creative people, agency people have taken a lot of the courses. If you want to direct commercials, and it's very niche, right? And I have a retreat coming up October 1st. I don't know when this podcast comes out, but October 1st will be our fifth retreat where filmmakers can come and find their voice. Defining your voice is the theme, like what you teach.
Cool. You do the
Because
same kind of thing. Yep.
when you have a point of view, you tend to get hired more for that point of view. And
Yep.
if you exclude work because you're not right for Henson, so that's okay
Yep.
because you have defined your lane.
Yep.
So I thought, what if I had a puppet that was not unlike the therapist, like an auteur? What is the trope filled auteur filmmaker?
Nice.
So
Nice.
it's a puppet. I'm imagining more on the felt side, but I'm not. It could be a rutabaga for it could be anything. I'm at the feet of the master here, but I would use it in social media promos to get people to take the online courses and to come to the retreat. I do an in-person boot camp a few times a year. So I don't want to cross the line. Like when I use AI to do these promos, a lot of people find it ironic. Like where you, God willing, I'm funny with the AI, and our Perlorian friends are funny with their AI. But there's something about a puppet that I think connects with my voice as a comedy director.
That's great. And
That's
are
all I
you
know. That's all.
you'll be part of these videos as well?
Absolutely.
So
I got to
that's and
scratch
you'll
that
be doing
itch.
the puppet and you'll be performing the puppet?
Just for convenience and organizational purposes, yes.
Yeah, that's no problem. That's no
Yeah,
problem.
and
So that
they'd probably be
so some
like
fun things to
split
think is if
screen,
you
split
split
screen two
screen.
shots, and then cut away, close up, close up.
Nice. So I think some things I think right away is you could do a great counterpoint to you, which you have a gentle, kind sort of way. I think this kind of auteur, if he was snobby or jerky or, you know what I mean. I think that would make it. I think that'd be make it interesting. Is something that's more opposite of you, and I think it probably is good because you do need to have a bitingness to that course. I'm sure. You know what I mean. You
Yeah.
got to get real with people, and give them real advice. So, if it has that, that's pretty fun. I think because it's you puppeteering and you're not a pro, I think not worrying about it being like too fancy. Like it doesn't need to be. It could be just a great sock. It'll be about the simplicity of the design.
Beret.
I think you just if you just have something that isn't too difficult to puppeteer, unless you are if you are have a natural inclination to it, give yourself something you can make get a lot of movement out, or just have something like with like a little trigger and a little mouth or something that can be just as funny.
I
I
like the
think.
trigger. I like the triggering of the mouth
Yeah.
more than the sock because I do see a lot of socks.
Yeah, so maybe you could make something like simple, like a little simple trigger puppet, and then it's more about the funny things you're saying. So once you learn to just be able to make the trigger go, you'll come up with the clever personality and kind of like one-liners. It's probably going to be like a one-liners to punch up your video.
Well, you know what's worked on social for me, and I haven't done these in a while, is where I would play myself like with a different hat or shirt, and I have a conversation, and one of my versions of me mocks the real version. So, like I said, I like to paint out, let the boom bear, it was a guy in a bear suit holding a boom mic. I like to let the boom bear stand in the shot and then I paint it out in post. David Fincher does it. And the cut to the other me going, "Ooh, David Fincher, aren't you fancy?"
Oh, that's funny.
So
That's good.
I mocked myself, but I think what I'm hearing is the auteur puppet would be more of a snob. Like, why don't you just paint it out like Fincher? He could be a name dropper too.
Yeah, name dropping's pretty funny. It's a yeah. If he has an extreme look to him too, like you could give him heavy brow and sunglasses and maybe even a little frown or something like that. And be because you should go all out. It should be a
Hmm.
strong. You look at him and you know exactly who he is. I think that'd be pretty funny. I think of it makes me think of Pepe. You remember Pepe the prawn. He's the best new Muppet. He's
Oh
Pepe the
yes,
prawn.
yes.
Yeah,
Pepe the
he's the
Frog was.
funniest new Muppet. Yeah, he's like of all the new characters, he just is far and away the funniest. And he's just a little trigger with a little frown on him. And it's just funny. It's so funny those little trigger puppets with their little, you know, and I think that would be a good kind of like counter character for you.
Oh, this is
Uh,
wonderful. Now,
yeah.
what if I don't want to make it? Can I hire Puppet Island? Or is it extremely
Yes,
expensive?
you can. Yes, you can. You can hire Puppet Island. I kind of do. It's funny. I do so much of my own stuff. So when I do stuff, that's why advertising has been so good for me
Yeah.
because they pay very well, and so I kind of do those high less. But if you want a great puppet, especially a trigger puppet's kind of easier too. Yeah, and I think it would be great if it had really strong, strong little eyebrows and crazy eyes, and so when you see it, you almost laugh already, and then you already know where its attitude's going to come from and everything like that. That's what's great about it. It's a simple. Once you get a simple hone in what that idea is, it's you just make it very singular
Okay.
in its
Last
appearance.
last question. Well, two more questions.
Okay.
With I got to think of a name. I think of sadly, I think a guy is more recognizable than a female puppet in this category. Yes.
Maybe. Yeah, if you depends on I guess you're doing the voice too, right?
Yeah, but I could. I could, change that. Or
Oh,
but let's
well,
say it's
unless you think of something original. I don't know who's like that, but
it's
yeah,
not
yeah,
really
sure.
coming to mind. I mean, they
Yeah,
are
no one's coming to mind. Yeah.
they're either tomboyish or like wonderfully flamboyant in a colorful jumpsuit. Like I wish that I was a female director just to get away with the wardrobe a little more than I do. But what if this
That's funny.
puppet, Jamie, sat in a small director's chair?
Yeah, that's excellent.
Because then it's a quick read.
You know what too is you can get the whole body in. Like if it's just a tiny little puppet you can have little shoes and
Yes.
crossed legs and
Yes.
in you'll have one hand. You could even have one hand free to be the one hand's the trigger hand and the other hand moves and you talk with the other hand, which would
This
be
is
quite
great. Thank you
charming.
for this. Well, give me a quote. You don't have to do it on air here, but send
Okay.
me a quote for this because it could be a lot of fun. I'm going to confess something to you.
Yeah.
I also have a hair care product called Posh Duo. It's for I'll send you some. It's for hair and beard. It's a styling wax for creative men. I'm not even joking, right?
Okay.
And I wanted a puppet for that, and so Poshy, who loves Posh Duo, had like an Eastern European accent, and I AI'd a felt puppet and even made it kind of staccato in movement, and then tried to prompt in rods to fool people that it wasn't. But it lacked
Hilarious.
the connection.
It did. Interesting.
Yeah,
Well,
it lacked
that's
the
nice to
connection.
hear. As long as AI lacks the connection, we'll all have a little more work for a little longer.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have brought it up if it was a huge success because that would be like a dart in the heart, right? That would what a rude
Poshy's
move
a
that.
pretty funny name, though. Poshy's a
Po-
great name.
Poshy for the and he talked like this, and the whole shtick was I was in it. Like I cut back and forth, and I go, Poshy, a puppet is the wrong. You're not the right spokes. He go, I could be a spokes puppet. And I go, but it's for adults. It's like you're a kid's puppet. And it didn't do well on social, and it was kind of dumb. But it was an exercise in just kind of the an opposite Turing test, or what did you call it? You called it something else. Uncanny
Oh,
Valley.
Uncanny Valley. Yeah.
Yeah. It was one of those tests where, wow, it looks like a puppet, and a couple of people were fooled, but the movements, like on your one of your behind the scenes, you're showing an old man puppet in a sauna, and I think you show a rehearsal where there's three puppeteers. So
Yeah.
the old man hops off of the sauna, his legs walk like when Kermit's in a famous Muppet movie scene. Kermit rides a bike and his legs are attached to the wheel, and we love that.
Yeah. That was the best
We
effect of 1979.
Right, and it's probably a split screen, or it's on a pole, and they remove the pole, or I would imagine they're pushing it on a stick. But what do I know? So in that sauna scene, are you and your fellow puppeteers? Are you and your fellow puppeteers in green screen suits with green rods?
We used to be way more green screen suits with green rods, but I think compositing got easier
Yeah,
with just yeah. You can just do it with people wearing their civic clothes. I have a full green suit that I still use sometimes, but it seems like if the graphics person's on set, they're just like, don't bother.
right. They roto it
Yeah.
out, which is a click. I mean, that's AI. But
Is it?
I
Yeah,
have
Roto became AI. It did it. Yeah.
it's really quick and easy. I rotoed myself for a test, and it's like I did it in the front yard with houses in the background. It's insane, but I have made PAs wear the green suit on set, telling them it was for real, even though they weren't even in the shot. I was like, no, you have to wear the whole green suit.
Very nice of
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
When you wear them enough, you get one tailored because when everyone
Wow,
orders those things on Amazon, it's a skin tight lycra.
quite revealing.
It's quite revealing. Yes, yes, definitely. You're making me think of this puppet I have right here, stuck to my wall.
Yeah. Do you
And
ever have a garage sale?
I haven't yet. It's funny how few puppets I end up in my own possession. Yeah, I have a little Napoleon on a stick here. It's just like a tiny little Napoleon on a stick. Hey, how are you? I'm a tiny little Napoleon. I did a little yeah, Napoleon's History of the World, a little finger puppet show. But
Oh, that's so
I do
fun.
love a puppet on a rod. I love that the whole thing is there, the whole object.
So maybe I'm just bonus question again on the auteur. If it were on a stick, and not unlike Napoleon, the podium becomes 4 or 5 inches to go below camera of a of some sort of floor, and
Yep.
the director's chair is on top of that. And the legs fall forward,
Yep.
and then it's just a stick. So it's one sort of club that I would keep in a special case. Yes, like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I just hang this on the wall with two hooks. You don't even really need a floor. You could just have the chair start because it's just gonna well it depends where you're gonna put it. Like in it'll just float in the air. If you want a floor, you could have a floor. Make a little checkered floor or something. But the floor is not necessary. The chair is and the seeing the whole physique of the puppet.
I like seeing the legs dangling.
I know that's pretty charming. Especially if it's an artur that it has its legs crossed and like those directors' chair, they have that little foot stand.
And Jamie, what is the rule of thumb for scale? Like you have life-size puppets, which
Yeah.
is more of a costume, but is there a diminished return on how small a puppet is, like for detailing and things like that?
Uh, I am actually really keen on the smaller the puppet, the better. I believe.
Really?
Maybe not as much with trigger puppets, but with actual hand puppets, yes, they come to life in a much they're much closer to your hand, and you're able to move the fabric or the whatever it's made out of with greater. You can move it all more,
Uh huh.
and you have more control. Where big puppets, you're kind of trying to wrangle a bunch of textile, and sometimes it ends up having dead areas. I find.
Interesting. Interesting. And do you, when it calls for someone other than Jamie Shannon, do you cast puppeteers
Oh yeah, I
and
have a
you
little
cast friends
team.
to help? Or
Yeah, I definitely cast friends to help. I usually have an assistant puppeteer on set for the left arm, and then if I
Mhm.
have other characters, I know some of the best puppeteers in Toronto.
Do you audition them?
Not anymore.
Yeah, you know them
Yeah,
all. You're a tight
yeah, I know
community.
them all. I know what they could do, and I know who could do a good thing. So
Again, I go back to the audience. We all look at the puppet. Like even if I were talking to you and you start doing Napoleon, I would have the conversation with Napoleon. And I
I
wonder
will.
when that magic started. Like how what is the
Yes.
do you go back in history? Do you study the history of puppets?
Oh,
Did you as a kid? Like
it's
how did
the
you get
first
into this?
form. It's the first thing. I mean, it's sort of like drawing comics, sort of like cave drawings come to life in a way. I guess once they get 3D, but yeah, puppets were the way of doing it for the longest time. It's funny. I often find people when they get embarrassed, they watch the puppet for a little while, and then they go, "Oh, what's that made out of?" That's their way of letting you know that I'm not completely fooled by your puppeteering.
Oh, that's funny.
I'm still an adult.
That's
It's also
hilarious.
really cute too, and I've met kids on the street or something, and they almost get this kind of like they have to tell everything to the puppet. They're like, "Finally, somebody to listen to me."
There's your therapist.
There's the therapist. What's interesting too is with so much autism out there, autism
Yeah.
and puppets are they just love puppets. Like most of my biggest fans are have forms of autism, and they just get puppets better than other people.
Well, my son Jake, who is on the spectrum, that wasn't even a term back when he was in school. And I remember it's probably like third, fourth, fifth grade. There was a woman that came with her foam puppets and had the kids make puppets out of paper plates and scrap foam and googly eyes.
Nice.
and he loved it. He was always good at it. He had a little puppet, a little wolfy puppet, a little wolf puppet. You stick your hand in the little cuddly wolf's rear and move it
Cute.
around. We had so much fun with that. I never even thought about that. Like self expression, a confidant.
Yeah, I think it's almost worth it if you have a kid at some point. Try and find out whether they're inclined towards it, not so that they can be a puppeteer when they grow up, so that they have that form of expression.
Yeah.
It is like some kids just like it is the key to their getting them out of their head or getting them out into the world. It's just it's amazing how powerful it is for the right kid.
Well, what you said when we started chatting that sometimes the puppet is an alter ego of the person behind the puppet.
Yeah, well,
Did
yeah,
I
like
get that
we're all
wrong?
yeah, that's exactly. Yeah. We're all just we're all putting on a play, and sometimes we're neglecting a whole part of ourselves, and that neglected part of ourselves is usually dying to get out. And that's why it has so much energy if you key in and the puppet's the perfect thing. So especially kids that can't express something, it allows them to finally be like, I'm mad about this or whatever they need to. They're unable to channel through their skin.
That's wonderful. You know, Triumph, the insult comic dog,
Yep.
is that Robert Smigel, the writer, not an outgoing extroverted performer by any stretch. I ran into him one time and was like, he was freaked out that I recognized him because he's not until
That's
recently
funny.
very public facing. But the way that insult puppet spews out such funny, dark jabs, like one of a top roaster of these comedians that do the roast jokes, which I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of, by the way. I find it just hurtful. I don't even find it comedy, but nonetheless, I was thinking about your therapist. You know, your therapist could roam the streets of Toronto and give on the fly therapist on the street advice to people,
That's a pretty funny idea.
right? Because it all it takes is an iPhone and your forearm.
It's true. And that would be better for me. I've never been a good insult comic.
No,
Just
you'd be
doesn't.
loving and
Yeah,
friendly
yeah, it
and
never has
fun,
worked
and
for me.
yeah.
Whenever I've tried to be insulting, it always is insulting. I don't know why. Some people can do it and it's always a joke.
No, no, I used to be smug, and people took it at face value, and you just come off like a jerk.
Yeah. But some people are masters. And it's interesting that I would totally guess that insult dog is a shy puppeteer. They
Well, I
always
mean,
are.
he's a
Same
comic
with
writer. He's not even a puppeteer. I mean, the crudeness is, I think it's like a dollar store rubber
yeah.
dog with a bow. They put a bow tie and a cigar in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take much. The most famous thing on TikTok is that squirrel that dances by the window. Have you seen that?
No, is that a puppet?
Somebody just does sexy dancing with this dollar store squirrel, and they get millions and millions of views.
What
Puppets are
was
the one thing that the crappier they are, quite often the better they are. It's an interesting another little paradox with puppets.
Well, your raccoon isn't crappy at all. I mean, it's well thought out. But
Yeah,
as we said, there's a bit of an edge to it. Like I could see a client and a brand manager wanting to slick it up and comb its hair and give it a
yeah.
smile and
I think they had some challenges with it, and then until they put out that commercial that became a mega star
then it was their
commercial.
idea.
Yeah, exactly.
What was
Uh,
Jamie's first puppet as a child?
did I make I don't. I made some at camp. I made a bird marionette out of sticks, but I don't know that I had an actual puppet. I definitely was an action figure kid.
Yeah.
I'm from the '70s, so I was in the Star Wars. Puppets were everything. E.T. and the Muppet Show and Sesame Street and
Plastic action figures, you mean?
And
or
also,
or
yeah,
puppets.
all the action figures, yeah, just like creatures and puppets were all the media at that time.
Yeah,
And I was more of an action figure and creature. I'm from creatures. That was my original love.
interesting. And then professionally, what was your first puppet gig?
I got really lucky. I when Jim Henson died, I was traveling Europe trying to decide what I wanted to do with my life, and I was just like, oh, that's exactly what I want to do. I'm gonna just do that. So as soon as I got home, I was 20 years old. I made a cast of characters, and I got a job at our sort of Nickelodeon of Canada called
Hmm.
YTV. I did
Yeah,
these characters called the Grogs,
sure.
and I would improvise. We weren't allowed to have commercial programming, so you'd kind of fill the 3 or 4 minutes per half hour improvising these puppets. So it was a ton of practice that I got for about 2 or 3 years, and that was a very lucky gig. And I just made this. I made a mermaid. I made this bunny called Jasper. Um, I just did these sort of like really kind of. They're not bad. I still have them. They
Of course you do.
survived.
Yeah.
Yeah, they survived.
At Mr. Meaty, I saw on the
Yeah,
two burger guys, and they're quite ugly.
yeah, they're quite ugly. You know, people love Mr. Meaty, and I love it too for a lot of things. I don't love the design that it ended up. You know, I had so many once you're making a TV show with 50 people, you don't get to make all your own choices anymore.
Oh,
It
interesting. I
changes.
I
Yeah.
thought they would just let you, like, Jamie, just run with it. Whatever you do is going to be great.
Well, I had a partner, and it's funny. I was always keen on doing things colors like Jim Henson, like blue, green, yellow, and staying away from flesh tone because of Uncanny Valley.
Right.
Yeah, and Mr. Beatty, I don't know if it's quite Uncanny Valley, but it verges into it.
Yeah, I could see that. Like, I mean, their lips and eyes are exaggerated, but they're
They're
you've got
flesh
the one
toned.
sort of fat kid and this tall, skinny kid is the classic.
Yeah,
Going back to Abbott and Costello and
yeah, totally.
so many Penn and Teller. You know,
Yeah,
it's a classic visual. I'm
yeah,
still drawn to that raccoon, man. I just love it.
yeah. The raccoon did very well for us. The smart food bear I just made very cute too. I do
Well,
love making cute things.
yeah, Smart Food. I don't know that brand.
It's popcorn, smart food popcorn.
Oh, and he's a Phi Bear.
He's a Phi Bear
I get it.
and it was the day after the Super Bowl commercial for everybody's smooth movement.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's so cute. What
Yeah.
now? What is your dream job? Seems like you're living
Hmm.
your dream job.
I really I loved doing the Nanoland cameos. That was pretty fun
Hmm.
for I did 5,000 cameos for Nanoland, and I was doing weddings and birthdays and helping people through grief, and it was just I loved that really personal outreach of doing that again. So I'm trying to come up with more characters to do cameo, and
Wait,
I have some.
wait, you just now I get it. Cameos, the app on your phone, Cameos.
Yeah, the app that you get famous people to do messages
Oh my goodness, with the same character did 5,000?
with my Mona from the Nanoland character, the Nanoland show I co-created. I was the number one cameo in the world for 2024. So I had more. I was like number three in Germany, number two in Ireland, number one in America, and it was I just was plowing through them. I did thousands. People just I put so much energy into them, and I love doing them. And
Wow.
yeah, I set
Because
up this little thing. Yeah,
that's a personalized. I didn't see that on your website though, but that's a personalized, whether you're saying happy birthday to someone or like you said help someone deal with grief. Maybe the
yeah.
therapist has to be on Cameo.
Yeah, well, I'm actually going to do a cameo very soon with my Rasputin character, which people love, and I think he's
Yes.
going to just more like helping people loosen up or have some fun tonight. He's going to have like more kind of party advice, and so I'm going to do that. And I also think also like how to have hanky panky fun. Like I think people needed a few messages like that.
That's hilarious. You know, I can you send me a link to the short Rasputin?
Sure. You know what? They
It's
just
not
came
on
out.
your. It's not
Henson
on your.
just came out with it. Actually, it just came out. So Henson just came in, brought it out. I'll send that to you.
You directed that.
I did, yeah.
Now,
And I played the Rasputin.
well, yeah, we that's clear.
And I just actually set up this thing, so I'm about to shoot it. Like I shoot everything here in my studio. So there's a little Rasputin sort of little cave place.
Do
So
you
yeah,
have a
I'm gonna
second mini puppet, like a
yeah.
second
Here's
mini Rasputin that can poke up in the window?
oh I don't no. He'll kind of stand in front of it.
No, gotcha.
I'll when it gets better, I'm gonna put like a few more so I can bring the other characters in and that kind of thing.
And what do
But
you
I
shoot
love
it on?
doing that character. Just my phone.
That's all it needs.
Yeah, I just use my iPhone 50 or whatever. It's the Pro Max. I can't believe it. I got one of the like with lots of space on it, and I've got so much on there. I still haven't filled it up yet.
With Rasputin, you said it's your favorite character. How often do characters rotate in and out of being your favorite?
Oh, all the time.
So how long is
I'm always
Rasputin's
changing.
run?
I'm always changing my mind with. It's whatever I'm working on. But that Rasputin character, he's quite funny. The 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 gist I have of Rasputin is he was just having fun. So it's not the evil Rasputin or the religious Rasputin. It's the Rasputin who's like, "Hey, come on, everybody, loosen up. Let's have some fun."
Wild and crazy Rasputin.
Yeah, which he kind of is in our all our imagination through probably Boney M.
Now, Jamie, is there any question? This has been a great conversation. Thank you. Is there any
Thank you. It's
question I
good.
haven't asked you that you thought, my golly, this guy hasn't asked me about blank?
No, not really. I have some fun projects I'm going to do. And, I just love right now that all my life I've been trying to knock on Hollywood's door and go through so many hoops to get a show going. And now I'm just like, I'm doing it myself. I'm building my audience online. I'm going to get my audience online and hopefully never have to pitch anything again. I'll just make it with fans, and that's the way people are doing it.
Yeah.
Obsession was that and Mark he also did a horror movie too. What's his name? Markomaniac or Markiplier.
Oh, yeah.
Do you know
I,
Markiplier? Anyway, he's another YouTuber.
he did the Hidden Room or the Behind the Wall or the other one that's out now.
Yeah, something else that just came out,
Yeah.
and that's the ingredients, like what you're doing too, just building your own audience, and I kind of love that control. It's just makes me feel so much better than always having to, you know, I have wacky ideas, so I'd go to Kid Screen, I'd pitch a bunch of people, they go,
Oh,
thanks,
it,
and it's just sort of like I don't know how to. I'm not a schmoozer. I'm a maker. Mhm.
well, it's interesting. You kind of struck a nerve with me because 25 years ago, after making a film with no permission and some credit cards and raising money, got hired to do some films, and then I got into this pitch thing. Everyone's like, "Come pitch," and everything was in development, and everything wanted to talk to this person. Oh, they have a deal with this. So wait a minute, I'm going to pitch to someone who in turn will have to pitch it again. Like I'm not
Yeah,
even pitching the person that can say yes. I have no interest in that. And I started making documentaries 15, 16 years ago with my own money. Like
good
I
stuff.
distributed three of them, and I got distributors, and they said, "Well, you have to take it down from your website." And I said, "Why? Like, are you really threatened by the people that are paying $10 for my movie? Like, aren't you going to get a big distribution deal? I'm not going to promote it, but if someone finds it and they go, oh, okay." Like, I realize you can say no. And
Yep.
then I have friends and people very close to me that develop stuff or they want me to read their script. And I go, I don't, if you're into it, that's all that matters. My opinion doesn't matter. And I don't know how someone, and this is why you and I love commercials, right? They pay, they have a start date, they have a release date. We put a bow on it. If it works, we'll probably do it again.
Yep.
And everybody's really cool, right?
Yep.
Like the people involved, it, we mount an army of love between production and the puppet shop and the agency and the client team, and then we disperse and we made something, which allows me and you to go off and do our fun stuff on our own.
Yep.
Like, why someone would want to spend 9 months developing something, unless you like, look, the Odyssey. I hear he wanted to make it for 10 years. That's a whole different level that we're not. I'm not talking about that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
I'm
development
talking.
is such a, it feels like such a waste of creativity. I've actually been sharing my ideas on social media now. I have a little, it's called Ideas I Created But Haven't Made. And I just
Is
talk
that the
about it because I'm
jingle?
like, because yeah, I have a little jingle for it because I'm like, why do I create these things and they just sit in a drawer? And I probably won't make them all, but I'm glad to at least get the idea out there.
Yeah, you have to. If it's bun, I get obsessed. I just finished an edit last night at midnight on a personal project, 25-minute film, one of 4 episodes.
Nice.
It's for an audience of 60 people. That's all I care about. I'm thinking of 60 people, maybe 600 people. Now that sounds absurd, but it's such a good story for those 600 people. And if it, now I'm kind of going to hyperbole for effect because if I can put it out and people gravitate, I think it will resonate with people. But
Yeah.
I'm not attached to the outcome or the likes. I'm focused on this smallest viable audience.
Smart. That's
And
what they say to do.
well, it's so to see the YouTube success, or I guess what I'm saying, Jamie, is I've heard the take the bull by the balls saying for 25 years. Just go make it. Like that's
Yeah.
this is nothing new to me. You know, when I saw Steven Soderbergh's Sex Lies and Videotape, and I don't know how much he had funded, but it looked like he just went out and shot it. This is like in the 90s. I was like, "Oh,
I
you can
remember,
do
yeah.
that. You can go do that." And so now with an iPhone 16 plus mega director's version and your storage and your studio and some potatoes, by golly, you got a series.
You're right. You ready?
Jamie,
And I even find, okay, yeah,
no, go ahead.
microphones. The microphone's pretty good too. Like I
Yeah,
actually have tried to detach the microphone. I'm like, I don't know that that's better. Sometimes.
I think the mic's a little better personally because I got shit the other day. I did a promo for the retreat I was telling you about, October 1st through the 4th, and I'm holding one of those little fuzzy mics. And I'm shooting with my iPhone, and I just say, "Hey, come to this retreat. I'm a filmmaker." Blah blah blah. And a very tiny percentage, the vocal minority, spoke up like, "I'd never take a course from a guy using that little microphone." And another guy posted on LinkedIn, just lambasted me. This guy's a fraud, or this is a scam, because he's using that little microphone. And I was just like, "Oh my gosh, that's so not the point,
Wow,
right?"
congratulations though. You're getting trolls are a sign of success.
Oh, I took a screenshot and posted it. I tagged the guy. I said, I wish you the best." And he since sort of rescinded the you're not I checked you out. You're not a scam. But point being, the tool for social media can be different than the tool for the program. Like I'm imagining, and I started to ask Rasputin. You shot on a not an iPhone. I'm imagining. Bait and switch
uh
was not an
yeah, that
iPhone.
was better. Yeah, those were better cameras.
Right, with some lights and
Yeah,
a
yeah.
crew.
True,
But
yeah, exactly.
a YouTube short for how to make a potato puppet, it's perfect for an iPhone.
Yeah, yeah, or
So
Instagram or TikTok.
yeah. Well,
Yeah,
the show, this has been great. So thank you. And the show is called Respect the Process. And this is how we land the plane. Jamie, what does respect the process, when you hear that term, what does that mean to you? And you can
respect the
answer
process.
as
Well, yeah,
Rasputin if you want.
it's uh, it's a long way to get these projects done, so you better enjoy the whole making of it. You know, it's the whole thing is like, especially a puppet show. You're building for 9/10 of it is making things and sets and puppets, and so yeah, the film's the final little fruit you get at the end. So
Bonus
yes,
question.
okay.
When you're doing that and you're carving the castle for Rasputin, or you're making a tiny prop, or even go back in the process to when I imagine there's drawings and felt and hot glue guns when you're concepting, right?
Yep.
Do do you get into, tell me about the flow state? Like, does time evaporate and you wake up and it's Wednesday and you've been there for 48 hours?
I can clock a lot of hours in a puppet shop. It is good because you're standing, so you're able to kind of work longer than
Oh,
I
wow.
find that if I'm writing, I get tired because I'm sitting. But if I'm making puppets, I clock the hours, and there's always an all nighter. There's almost never not an all nighter before a commercial. And my problem is I also puppeteer, so I always show up with the darkest circles ever.
Which is
But
okay because you're not
yeah,
on camera. Yeah.
I'm not on camera. I'm just the sweaty guy under the camera, so it doesn't matter.
But where does your mind go? Like, I talked to a painter one time who was making a mural for a commercial I did. And I interviewed him while he was making the mural. And I said, same thing, like, well, how do you? He goes, I called a friend and we Skyped via phone. Skype was pre Zoom. Boy, the Skype people really dropped the ball during the pandemic. They could have
I
owned it.
know, what the heck? They had
They
it
owned it.
all.
They owned it. He said, I Skyped with a friend for like 3 hours and he let go of what he was painting.
Yeah, I do two. It's two tracks, so it's great for listening to podcasts. You can even watch a movie if you can just listen to it.
Wow.
Yeah, so it depends what you're doing. Like sometimes you have to think about it, so you just then you're using your full. But I like, oh, I know I'm gonna have to do 2 hours of that very routine job, so I'll always put a. I like to learn. I usually listen to podcasts like Radio Lab
Yeah.
or
So that's,
whatever,
well, that's interesting
or
because,
respect the process.
yes, respect the process. Thank you for the plug. That makes sense, though, to me because it seemed like if you were too focused on the task at hand, like I like to draw when I'm doing these treatments for a commercial or storyboard, like before the writing, I like to just draw it out on my iPad now because you kind of let go and you come up with these ideas. There are those that would say, there's a writer that wrote The War of Art, a book about creativity and getting in the flow.
Cool.
That when you sit down to do something deliberately and you're letting I don't know if you call them like sirens or angels or the gifts are bestowed. You know, the Rick Rubin
The
philosophy.
muses. The
The
muses
muses,
speak
that's
to
what it
you.
is. Yeah, the muses speak to you. So, I'm not going to wait for the muses. I'll start doing the work, but by golly, working with your hands and something tactile like that, you're 100% in it. So I wonder
It
if the
does. It
muses
does really
come to
help.
you, the muses come to you more readily because you're cutting a potato and putting a wig on it.
Yeah, that I think that is true. Yeah, when you have to be creative on command, like it's your job, and sometimes you have to be creative for way more hours than you want to in a day. You systematize it. So I do have like you have your iPad. I work on newsprint with a Sharpie, or I work plasticine, or I use wet clay. I use really soft, easy materials, so there's nothing between me and the the doing. So, using newsprint and a Sharpie, I can rip that page and throw it out and do another one. and it won't. Nothing slows me. I'm not precious about anything because you
Yes.
really want to find the flow. You do want to, yeah, everything you got to find that flow, especially at the idea stage at the beginning.
Well, that's a wonderful bonus answer. Jamie, thank you so much. I'm going to hit you up about this puppet. I want a price on
All right, that sounds good. Maybe I should
maybe.
hear some. If you have voices, you can record a voice too.
Oh yeah, what? How does that guy sound? Uh, oh, you stumped me. I'm going to have to think about that.
Yeah,
I'm going to have to think about that.
that'll help because I would design it probably to go with your voice too.
And you do sketches, and like I look at 3 or 4 sketches.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. Come back on any time, and do send me a link to Rasputin and anything else I can post with the blog.
Okay, I'll send that right after the phone call.
Thanks again, Jamie. Have a great day.
Thanks, Jordan.
Bye bye.
Have a
Nice
great day.
chatting.
Toodles.
Toodles.